this very video we'll be learning about the Marquee tool. Okay, there are four of them: the rectangular Marquee tool, the elliptical Marquee tool, the single row Marquee tool, and the single column Marquee tool. Now the shortcut to selecting this tool is just selecting M on your keyboard. So when you click M on your keyboard, you have it. Okay, and if you press Shift M, you can actually change them. Okay, and remember these very modifications you can do. You can select a mask, you can choose the specific size as to whether the width or the height. You can also use a fixed ratio. Under the fixed ratio you have a particular size you want to use, and so let's say you're using a fixed ratio of 5:5. It is 5:5. It's going to be equal. Okay, and if you're not using a fixed ratio, if you're using a normal, it means you can just distort it to the way you want. And if you're using the fixed size, you have to choose the size, and then this is 64 by 64 pixel. You can make it 50, maybe let's say 100, okay, by 100. So I believe you get that. Okay, when you do that, it's just a fixed size. So most times I use fixed ratio. Okay, so you have an equal size ellipse. Okay, same radius. Now when you do this, what you can do from here, you can actually select inverse. You can feather. By selecting inverse, you just select the other side, the opposite side. You can actually copy, and you have a different thing entirely. Let's see what we just did. Now this is what we selected, the inverse, okay, of what we chose is what we have copied. Now you can also do a number of things. So let's select again. We come back to the background layer, and we can make work path, we can cut, we can copy, we can make new layer, we can transform selection, okay, and you can do a number of things from this selection. You can actually make it bigger, make it smaller. You can distort it by pressing either Shift or Control on your keyboard, and by this you will be adjusting the radius. Okay, and of course you can also feather. You can feather and do a number of things. So let's just do a quick one. We want to have this image duplicated on either side and make it a little more attractive. So let's use the elliptical Marquee tool, and then we bring it to the center. We do layer via copy, okay, and then we use our move tool, select the edge, reduce the size, and you move it to the edge. Now it gives you a beautiful, attractive image. You can also come here and you can modify this very image by doing a number of things on it. You select the effects tool, and let's say for example we want to add a bevel and emboss this thing to it. So we bevel and emboss it, and then it pops it, gives it a 3D touch. Okay, let's zoom a little closer by pressing Control plus, okay, and then we'll press space bar, it changes it to hand, and you click and drag. Okay, so let's see what the bevel and emboss will look like. Our size, bevel and emboss size, and then, okay, because the image is small, so we have a good depth, and you can also stroke. There's our stroke. Okay, you can stroke and have a different color. So let's use your eyedropper tool, select a different color that is similar to that of the image. So let's use this brighter color, maybe the brownish one. The brighter one is better, and then we reduce the size, and there we are. Okay, we have something. Okay, that's just to demonstrate what you can additionally do to this image. You can then of course duplicate this same layer, duplicate it, okay, and give it a name, maybe 2, and then you can, now we have 2 of them here. Okay, you click and drag, you can come right here and flip it, transform, edit, transform, you flip horizontally, and then you bring it down here. Okay, you can change the color automatically. Let's change it to black and white. Press Shift Control U on a Windows, and there we go. So we have a very cute one now. So we've used the ellipse. Okay, now let's come to the rectangle. So press Ctrl G to group, and then you give it a name. So this is a group 1, or let's just name it ellipse. Okay, I hope that spelling is correct. If it's not, please correct it. We don't have much time. I don't want it to be too long. So we go to the rectangle. You can still achieve the same thing. Okay, for the rectangle you can do a number of things. Now I had already feathered it, so that's why you get to see that the edges are around. Okay, the edges are round. Why? Because it is feathered at 90. All right, so let's deselect that, and change our feather to 0. Okay, and then let's see the differences between the feathers. Right click and layer via copy. Now if you observe, you might be having a little difference from mine, because I'd selected something different. Now you can add and subtract your selection. This is add, this is a regular selection. When you're making a new one, it's just a new selection. Okay, it's just a new selection, so that's probably what your own is going to be like. So you can add. So let's assume I needed it to be a little bigger than this, so I can add to the selection. I can add to the selection, and then let's say I don't want this part, I can come and subtract and minus. Okay, and minus, so let's just have it just this way, and minus the bottom also, so we have just this. Okay, so for this we can come and back to the background layer, and then you do layer via copy, and you have it. There you go. Now you can also do a number of things, like I told you already with the move tool. You can scale. So you scale. If you want to, you can of course press your control and distort it, depending on what you want to achieve. Okay, depending on what you intend to achieve with this image. So you can do that. Alright, you can also scale and do a number of things. Alright, so that's it. And then for this very tool, you select just a single row, a single pixel per row, or a single pixel per column. So once you just click once, it just picks a pixel, one single pixel per row. Okay, so that's what it does. And you can also use this to select a single pixel per column. Okay, so just vertical and horizontal, and that is it. Okay, that is what you can do, and a lot of other things you can do. Personally, I encourage you to go take your time, practice. See you in the next class.